Someone disrespected you today. Maybe they cut you off mid-sentence. Maybe they cowed on you again. Maybe they made that little joke everyone laughed at except you. And you smiled. You let it slide. You told yourself it wasn't a big deal. But here's what actually happened. They just tested you and you failed. Every person you meet is running an experiment on you. They're asking one question: what can I get away with? And your reaction, or lack of it, gives them the answer. When you laugh it off, when you stay quiet, when you make excuses for them, you're not being nice, you're giving permission. Permission to do it again. Permission to go further next time. Permission to treat you like you don't matter. Machiavelli watched this pattern destroy kingdoms. He saw good people with pure hearts get crushed by those who understood one simple truth. Humans don't respect who deserves it. They respect who demands it through action. Right now, there's someone in your life testing your boundaries. They're seeing how much they can take before you push back. And if you're watching this video, chances are you haven't pushed back yet. You've been patient, understanding, forgiving, and they've been taking notes. Today, that ends. I'm going to show you a single action that stops disrespect instantly. These aren't just theories. These are timeless patterns of human behavior that have worked for centuries and will work for you starting today. By the end of this video, you'll see every relationship differently. You'll understand exactly why some people walk all over you while they never try it with others, and you'll know how to fix it. Drop this affirmation in the comments right now. I control my value. Let's begin. Number 1. Accept that society runs on rank, not intentions. Your good intentions are worthless. I know that's harsh, but someone needs to tell you. You can be the kindest, most thoughtful person in every room you enter. You can spend hours considering others, trying to be fair, doing the right thing. None of it creates respect. Here's what does: behavior. Every time you interact with someone, they're ranking you. Not consciously, not deliberately, but it's happening. Within the first 30 seconds, their brain has decided, is this person above me or below me? Do I need to impress them, or can I test them? Should I give, or can I take? This isn't evil. This is survival code that's been running in human brains for thousands of years. The people who couldn't figure out social hierarchy quickly got dominated, exiled, or worse. That software never got deleted. It's still running in everyone you meet, including you. And here's the part nobody warns you about. If you don't claim your position, society assigns you one automatically. It puts you at the bottom, not because you belong there, but because you acted like rank doesn't matter. Think about someone you know who never gets disrespected. They're not necessarily smarter, richer, or more successful than you. They just carry themselves differently. They set a boundary once and people believe it. They say no without explaining, and nobody questions it. They've claimed their rank through behavior, and everyone respects it. Now think about yourself. How many times this week did you let something slide? How many times did you explain yourself when someone questioned you? How many times did you say yes when everything in you wanted to say no? Each of those moments was a test, and each time you didn't stand firm, you taught people where you belong in their hierarchy. Machiavelli once said, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see, but few can feel." People rank what they see, not what you feel inside. Your internal goodness is invisible to them. Your external behavior is the only data they have, and they're using that data to decide how to treat you. So here's your wake-up call. Stop expecting people to honor your intentions. They can't see your intentions. They can only see your actions. And right now, your actions are teaching them that you're someone who doesn't enforce boundaries, doesn't push back, and doesn't create consequences. That's not respect. That's convenience. You've become the easy option, the person who won't cause problems, the one everyone knows will absorb whatever they throw. And once you're marked as convenient, everything changes. People interrupt because they know you'll wait. They cancel because they know you'll understand. They disrespect because they know there's no cost. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're just sending the wrong signals. And today you're learning to fix that. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Behavior creates rank. Number 2, stop signaling safety. Why do some people never get tested? Watch any social situation carefully. Notice who gets interrupted and who doesn't, who gets their boundaries pushed and who gets automatic respect, who becomes the target of jokes and who stays untouchable. The difference isn't confidence, it's not status, it's danger. These people radiate a signal that says, "Try me if you want, but there will be consequences." That signal is so clear, so undeniable, that most people never even test them. They instinctively know better. Now look at what you're doing. Someone makes a comment that crosses the line and you immediately smile. You laugh at jokes that aren't funny to keep the mood light. You nod along when someone talks over you. You say, "It's fine," when they show up late for the third time. Every single reaction is a signal, and that signal broadcasts one message: I'm safe to disrespect. Nothing bad will happen. There won't be consequences. Let me break down exactly what these signals look like, because you need to recognize them. Over-smiling, that nervous smile you give when someone says something uncomfortable, that quick laugh when you're actually hurt, that grin you force to show you're not bothered. People see that and translate it as, this person won't stand up for themselves. Defensiveness, when someone questions your choice and you launch into a detailed defense. When you justify your boundaries with paragraphs of reasoning. When you feel the need to make everyone understand why you decided what you decided. This signal says, this person can be talked out of things. Over-accommodating. When someone cancels last minute and you immediately say, "No problem, we'll reschedule." When they're rude and you smooth it over. When they take from you repeatedly and you keep giving. This signals, this person is desperate to keep me around. These behaviors don't make you kind. They make you a target. Because humans are wired to find weakness and exploit it, not out of malice but out of instinct. We're all looking for the path of least resistance, and if you signal that you're that path, people will walk it. Machiavelli once said, "Since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved." He's not talking about being a villain. He's talking about having an edge. People need to sense that crossing you costs something. Not a violent cost, not cruelty, just a real tangible consequence that makes them think twice. So here's your first move. Remove every signal that says, "I'm safe." Next time someone disrespects you, don't smile. Let your face show what you actually feel. Not with drama or theatrics. Just stop performing happiness when someone treats you poorly. Don't rush to fill silence. Let it stretch. Let the awkwardness sit there like a weight. That discomfort is doing work that your words never could. Don't make it comfortable for them. Comfort is what they get for treating you well. It's not their default right regardless of their behavior. People who respect you don't need you to be easy. People who disrespect you are counting on it. Drop this affirmation in the comments: I am not safe. Number 3, cut off emotional access immediately. If someone can trigger you, they control you. Let that sink in. Every time someone knows exactly what to say to make you angry, defensive, hurt, or flustered, they have power over you. Real power. The kind that determines who dominates the interaction and who scrambles to recover. Think about the last time someone got under your skin. Maybe they mentioned your past. Maybe they made a comment about how you look or what you do. Maybe they implied you're not as smart or successful or together as you think you are. And you reacted. Your face changed, your voice got tight. You started defending yourself or justifying or arguing back. In that exact moment, you gave them the controls to your emotional state. You showed them which button gets results. And now, they'll press it whenever they want to feel powerful at your expense. This is why the same people keep using the same tactics on you. It's not coincidence. They found your trigger, they tested it, and it worked. So now, it's their favorite weapon. They bring up that one topic, make that one comment, use that one tone, and you react exactly how they expected. You've become predictable, and predictable means controllable. Here's what Machiavelli understood that changes the entire game. Emotional reactions are invitations. Every time you show someone they can upset you, you're inviting them to do it again. You're confirming that this method works. You're making it entertaining for them. So what's the counter move? Cut off their access immediately. Someone says something designed to trigger you. Your face stays neutral. Your voice stays level. Your body language doesn't shift. You don't defend. You don't explain. You don't show pain or anger or frustration. You become stone, unreactive, unreadable. And watch what happens. The person who tried to upset you suddenly looks foolish. They swung expecting impact and hit nothing. They threw the punch and connected with air. Now they're the one feeling awkward and exposed while you remain completely unaffected. That shift is everything, because the game stops being fun when they can't get a reaction. The power dynamic flips when their weapon doesn't work anymore. Machiavelli once said, "The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him." Same principle here. The people in your life reflect what you allow. If you're surrounded by people who feed off your emotional reactions, it's because you've been feeding them. You've been giving them exactly what they're hungry for. Stop feeding them, not out of spite, not to punish, but because your emotional responses are valuable. They're for people who've earned access to your inner world. Random people testing you, they don't get that access. They get a blank wall. This isn't suppression, it's selection. You're choosing who gets to see you vulnerable, who gets to affect your mood, and who gets to matter emotionally. And people who disrespect you don't make the cut. Next time someone tries to get under your skin, give them nothing. Calm face, even tone, zero visible impact. Watch their confusion. Watch them scramble for a new angle. Watch the power shift in real time. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I am unreachable. Number 4, name the disrespect once, then go silent. Most people handle disrespect in one of two broken ways. Way 1, they ignore it completely. They pretend it didn't happen, hoping if they don't acknowledge it, it'll stop. It never stops. Ignored disrespect always escalates. Way 2, they address it multiple times. They explain how it made them feel. They try to make the other person understand. They bring it up again and again, hoping something will finally click. This fails too. Repetition looks like begging. There's a third way. It's the only one that works. Name the disrespect once, clearly, calmly. Then go completely silent. No discussion, no explanation, no emotional appeal. You state what happened and let silence do the rest. Here's what this actually looks like. Someone interrupts you for the third time in one conversation. Most people either shut down or keep trying to talk louder. Both responses lose. Instead, you stop talking immediately. You look directly at them and you say, "You interrupted me, that's all." Then you wait. "No, I feel like you keep..." "No, maybe you didn't realize, but..." No softening the truth. You named exactly what happened. Now, the silence makes them sit with it. And here's why this destroys disrespect. Humans are terrified of being exposed. Most disrespect happens in gray areas where people can claim they didn't mean it, didn't realize, or were just joking. The second you name it clearly, that gray area disappears. They're caught. They can't hide behind confusion or intention. The silence amplifies everything. Now they have to choose their next move with everyone watching. Apologize, double down, or sit there awkwardly. Whatever they pick, they're feeling the social cost. And that cost teaches them faster than any lecture you could give. But here's the critical rule. You only do this once. If you repeat yourself, you've already lost. Repetition signals desperation. It signals you're trying to convince them to respect you. And the moment you're trying to convince someone to respect you, the game is over. You can't negotiate respect. It's either there or it's not. Naming something once is powerful because it's unexpected, clear, and final. Naming it twice makes you look uncertain and weak. So, your rule is simple. State the violation once, then let your actions enforce the boundary. If they do it again, you don't give another verbal warning. You use lesson 8. But you never ever repeat yourself because people who respect you hear you the first time. People who don't respect you won't suddenly start because you said it louder or more often. One clear statement, then silence, then consequences. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Once is enough. Number 5, refuse to justify your existence. You need to hear this. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your choices. Not your friends, not your family, nobody. Your decisions are yours. Full stop. But you've been trained your whole life to do the opposite. You've been told that good people explain themselves, that respecting others means helping them understand your reasoning, and that mature communication requires justification. That training is destroying your power. Here's the truth. Explanation lowers your position. The moment you start justifying why you said no, why you chose this, or why you set that boundary, you've entered a negotiation. And negotiations only happen between equals or between someone with power and someone trying to challenge it. People who actually command respect don't explain. They decide and move on. Think about it. When someone with real social power says no, do they write paragraphs explaining why? When they decline an invitation, do they list all the reasons they can't make it? When they set a boundary, do they justify it with their life story? No, they just state their position. I can't make it. That doesn't work for me. I'm not interested. Done, final, moving on. But when you don't feel secure in your position, you explain. You list reasons. You apologize. You basically beg for understanding. And every word broadcasts, I'm not sure I'm allowed to do this. Machiavelli once said, "It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles." Power doesn't come from explaining. Power comes from acting like explanation isn't necessary. So here's what changes now. When you make a decision, make it. When you set a boundary, set it. When you say no, say no. No justification, no detailed reasoning, no apology. I'm not available. That doesn't interest me. I've decided differently. And yes, people will push. They'll ask why. They'll seem hurt or confused. They might act like you owe them more. That's the test. They're checking if you'll crack open and start justifying, if you'll enter explanation mode, if you'll beg them to understand. Don't. You can acknowledge feelings without justifying choices. I understand you're disappointed is fine, but it ends there. You don't add becauseum and launch into a defense, because watch what happens when you stop justifying. People stop questioning. They might not like your choice. They might wish it was different, but they stop treating your decisions as negotiable. They stop seeing you as someone who needs permission. That shift is everything. That's the difference between someone who commands respect and someone who asks for it. Your choices belong to you. You don't need anyone's approval. You don't need anyone's understanding. You need your own clarity, and that's enough. Drop this affirmation in the comments. No explanation needed. Number 6, delay access to you. Here's something you've noticed, but maybe never understood. The friend who always texts back immediately gets less respect than the one who takes hours. The person who's always available gets taken for granted. The one who drops everything gets treated like a backup plan. Why? Because instant availability signals low value. This isn't fair. This isn't nice to acknowledge, but it's exactly how human psychology works. Our brains assign worth based on scarcity. What's always available feels cheap. What's rare feels valuable. You could be the most incredible person someone knows, but if you're instantly accessible every time, their brain marks you as common, as abundant, as something that'll always be there, so they don't need to prioritize it. Think about your own behavior. When someone texts back within seconds every time, you start assuming they're always waiting. Their messages feel less important because you know there'll be another one soon. You start prioritizing people who are harder to reach because your brain thinks, better respond while I have their attention. Now flip that. What are you teaching people about your availability? When you text back instantly every time, you're saying, I'm always waiting for your attention. When you say yes immediately to plans, you're saying, I have nothing else going on. When you rearrange your schedule around theirs every time, you're saying, my time matters less than yours. None of that is objectively true, but it's what your behavior communicates. And people believe behavior, not your internal truth. Machiavelli once said, the promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. He understood that timing is strategy, that sometimes the right move is to delay, to make people wait. Not because you're playing games, but because your time genuinely has limits. So, here's the shift. Delay access to you. Message comes in. Unless it's urgent, you wait an hour, 3 hours, or until tomorrow. Not to be manipulative, but because you're genuinely busy living a life that doesn't revolve around your phone. Someone asks to hang out. You don't say yes instantly. You actually check your week. You think about what you have going on. You get back to them with an answer later. Plans being coordinated? You don't always bend to their schedule. Sometimes they work around yours. Sometimes you counter with different times that work better for you. This isn't about being difficult. This is about ending the pattern where you're always the one adjusting, always the one making room, and always the one available immediately. People who truly value you respect that you have a full life. They don't mind waiting because they understand you're not sitting around for their message. The people who get frustrated by reasonable delays, they were never valuing you properly. They just liked how convenient you made everything. Delayed access isn't a manipulation tactic, it's reality. You do have limited time. You do have other priorities. You can't always be instantly available. Start behaving like it's true. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My time is limited. Number 7. Allow discomfort to teach the lesson. You've been trained to be a peacekeeper, to smooth tension, to make everyone comfortable, to break awkward silences as fast as possible. That training is sabotaging every boundary you try to set, because here's how humans actually learn. Through discomfort, not through explanation. Not through heart-to-heart talks. Through the raw, unpleasant feeling of realizing they messed up. Think about learning not to touch a hot stove. Someone can explain the danger 100 times, but one quick burn and the lesson is permanent. Discomfort teaches what words never can. Same with respect. Same with boundaries. Someone makes a joke at your expense? Instead of laughing along or explaining why it hurt, you go quiet. You stop smiling. You let silence fill the space. Everyone feels it. The person who made the joke feels it most. That awkward silence teaches more than any "I didn't appreciate that" speech ever could. Someone cancels plans last minute again? Instead of saying, "No worries, when should we reschedule?" you just say, "Okay." Then you don't reach out. You let them sit with the consequence. That discomfort teaches them your time actually has value. Someone talks over you in a group? You stop talking immediately. You don't fight to finish your sentence, you just stop and wait. The group notices, the interrupter notices. That awkward pause recalibrates everyone's behavior. Machiavelli once said, "Men ought either to be well treated or crushed, because they can avenge themselves of lighter injuries. Of more serious ones they cannot." He means there's no point in half measures. Either let something go completely or make the consequence crystal clear. The worst thing you can do is address it weakly, smooth it over and hope they figure it out. Let discomfort be the teacher. Stop rescuing people from the natural consequences of disrespecting you. Stop making it comfortable for them to treat you poorly. Let the awkwardness stretch. Let the silence hang heavy. Let them feel the weight of what they created and watch behavior adjust. Humans always move toward comfort and away from discomfort. When disrespecting you becomes uncomfortable, they'll stop. Not because you convince them with logic, but because they taught themselves through feeling. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Silence teaches best. Number 8. Withdraw without explanation. Now we reach the lesson that separates people who get genuine respect from people who just talk about boundaries. When someone repeatedly disrespects you after you've made it clear, you don't give another chance. You don't have a big conversation. You don't offer closure. You withdraw. No warning. No final confrontation. No exit speech listing everything they did wrong. You quietly remove your presence, your attention, and your energy from their life, and you never explain why. This contradicts everything you've been taught about communication. You've heard that good people talk things through, that you owe people honesty, and that cutting someone off without explanation is cruel. But here's what that advice misses. Staying after repeated disrespect equals approval. When you keep showing up for someone who's shown they don't value you, you're teaching them your boundaries are suggestions, that your words mean nothing, that they can keep doing what they're doing because there's no real consequence. Words without action are just noise, and they've learned your noise doesn't mean anything. Machiavelli once said, "He who blames himself proves that he knows better." Stop explaining to people who've already proven they don't care. They know what they did. They're just betting you won't actually leave. They're counting on your need for closure, your desire to be understood, and your hope that this time they'll get it. Withdrawal is the only language that works on people who ignore your words. And here's what happens. Most won't reach out. They know why you're gone. They just didn't think you'd actually do it. But some will. They'll text asking what's wrong. They'll act confused. They'll want to talk things out. Don't engage. Closure is a gift for relationships that tried. People who repeatedly disrespected you while you set boundaries, they get nothing. No explanation, no final chance to argue, no opportunity to find the right words to keep you around. You just quietly exit their access. If you must respond because they're persistent, keep it brutally simple. I've moved on. That's it. No details, no emotion, no opening for negotiation. Because here's the truth. They don't want to understand what they did wrong. They want to find the magic words that make you stay. They want to smooth things over without actually changing anything. Your job is not to help them do that. Your job is to protect your peace, your energy, and your time. And sometimes, that means walking away from people who can't see your value until it's gone. You're not their teacher, you're not their therapist. You're not responsible for their growth or their understanding. You're responsible for your own respect. And sometimes that means choosing yourself over someone who chose not to respect you. Let me tie everything together, because this is critical. Society doesn't protect quiet people. It doesn't reward endless patience. It doesn't hand out respect to those who ask nicely while getting walked over. Society measures consequences. It watches who enforces boundaries and who just talks about them, who walks away when disrespected and who stays anyway, who makes it cost something to cross them and who makes it free. Those who create consequences get respect. Not because they're louder or meaner or more important, but because they demonstrated that disrespecting them has a price. Every lesson today comes back to one shift. Stop being harmless. Notice I didn't say become harmful. There's a world of difference. Harmful people damage others for sport. They're cruel because they enjoy it. They hurt people to feel powerful. That's not this. Harmless people are safe to disrespect. Everyone knows they'll absorb it, explain it away, give another chance, and stay regardless. That's what needs to change. You're not becoming cruel. You're becoming someone with teeth. Someone who doesn't bite unless provoked, but who absolutely will when necessary. That potential alone changes everything. And here's the beautiful part. It only takes one time. One moment where someone disrespects you and you name it, then go silent. One boundary where you don't justify. One time you withdraw without the closure they want. That single action rewrites the entire dynamic because they've now seen you're different. The old playbook doesn't work. There are actual consequences. Now people adjust, they recalibrate. And suddenly you're not the person everyone knows they can push around. You're someone they need to actually respect. Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." Stop proving your worth through endless tolerance. Stop thinking respect comes from being infinitely available and accommodating. That's never been how it works. Respect comes from what people fear losing. Your time, your presence, your attention, your energy. The moment people realize those aren't guaranteed, that crossing you means losing access, they start treating you like you matter. Because you do matter. You always did. You just stopped acting like it. So here's your move right now. Think of one person who's been disrespecting you, just one. Next time they do it, use what you learned. Name it once and go silent, or delay access, or withdraw without explanation. Pick one lesson, apply it immediately. Watch the dynamic shift when you stop playing by the old rules. If this video hit you, smash that like button. Share this with someone who needs it, someone who's been letting people walk all over them. Subscribe. Because we're unpacking more uncomfortable truths about human behavior that everyone sees, but nobody says. Drop this final affirmation in the comments. I am not harmless. Because respect doesn't come from asking. It doesn't come from being nice. It doesn't come from meaning well. It comes from what people fear losing when they cross you. And they should fear losing you. Now go take your power back.